It is Bruins Benders post-game live on the Inside the Rink YouTube channel with Matty and Smitty. Click subscribe. Get your Bruins Benders merch on InsideTheRink.com/Bruins-Benders. Follow us on social media at Bruins Benders. The Bruins drop another one on the road, this time to the Rangers 3-2. Had a 2-1 lead by the grace of God at one point, and then, a third period collapse. Bruins were 16-0-4. When leading after two periods going into this game, the first loss in regulation after leading after two, and it comes at a poor time because the Bruins need all the points they can get. This one might look back at this one and say that this is where the beginning of the end was.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This and maybe Buffalo kicking your fucking ass too.
Yeah.
This one, you'll look back on this one and say, "Oh, why did we miss the playoffs by 2 points?" It's because we choked all over ourselves in the third period in New York, and we can't win a goddamn road game to save our fucking lives. If Don Sweeney is watching this team, and the interview with him at the end, the beginning of the second period was hilarious.
It was hard.
Hilarious. He is delusional. He's delusional.
Yes, he really
thinks
is.
Hampus Lindholm missing 40 games is the only reason.
That's the reason.
Seriously? And
that's the reason.
If he thinks what's going to happen is they're going to hang in. They're going to be where they are right now, around. And then it's going to get to, Four Nations. They're going to go past that. They're going to get to the trade deadline. And then right after the trade deadline, they're going to play that gauntlet of teams on the road. They have 10 road games in March and 4 home games or something like that. I think you said the other
10
night.
road games and 4 home games.
They're going to lose them all because they can't win a damn road game. They're going to hold on to all these guys. They're going to let them walk at the end of the year, and they're going to be out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's what's going to happen. I'm calling it right now. This very minute. That's what's going to happen. They're going to go like 2-8 on the road in those games and be out. And they're going to be sitting there with their fucking cock in their hands while everybody else makes deals and Trent Frederick's still on the team skating around like it's fucking public skate. Disco ball up top. They're playing September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And Freddie's out there shaking his ass, but not doing anything else. Can't wait. Can't fucking wait. Sorry, John.
I'll tell you what, who hasn't done much at all is Brazzer. Brazzers.com. Yeah, he's 7 games without a point now, and he's pretty much useless right now because there is this thing called scouting, as I said in the group chat earlier, that teams have probably scouted the guy, and now they don't let him get to those areas anymore, and he can't get any other areas because he can't skate.
No,
so you probably should have traded him 3 weeks ago.
You should have.
Make a little minor move, get whatever you can for him. If people really wanted to, you haven't had any negotiations with him since December. So you don't really have extending him on your mind. Should have friggin' dealt him then.
Well, how about this? I feel blessed and lucky that they didn't extend him because I think if they extended him in November or December when they were throwing numbers around, you'd be looking at a 3-year deal, for 1.5 or something like that, and you would have lost your mind. You may be dead. You may have jumped off the bridge between Maine and New Hampshire on the way, traveling one way or the other. Yeah.
The old Piscataquis Bridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Jumped right off.
But it jumped right off.
Right over and jumped right off.
I hated the Catholic 3-year deal. I definitely would have despised the Brazo 3-year deal. Because that's what you want. You want to run it back. You want to bring them all back.
That's what I'm saying. You really it's imperative that playoff teams and really good teams lock up all their third and fourth line guys to long-term deals. It is really what makes the team go, what makes the engine go. It's locking up your bottom 6 fucking forwards. That's what it is. It's like, how do you build a Stanley Cup winner? You lock up your guys who can't score and can't play to long-term contracts.
Yeah, because those guys are never available at the trade deadline.
It's exciting. I'm excited about the general direction of this team going forward. And especially with Sweeney and Neely at the helm. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the future with this team. I can't wait. I'm gonna be really, really excited when the entire team, not just the third and fourth line guys, but the entire team is made up of those same guys. They should put Max Jones, Riley Tufte, and Cole Koepke on the first line.
Yeah.
And then roll out like Brazer and, Riley Duran and John Farinacci on the second line. It's going to be wild.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
Just a bunch of
It's going to be the most
responsible players
you've ever seen in your entire life.
Yeah, defensively responsible players.
Tonight.
Yeah, defensively responsible players are what you need, and none of them are defensively responsible. So, but that's what you lean on. You lean on those. I got to see the numbers on Pastrnak. Matt Pastrnak and Pastrnak look like the only two guys on the planet for the Bruins who could do anything offensively in the first couple of periods. Like at all. Like every time Pastrnak was on the ice, they had the puck in the zone. They had some real monster shifts where they were really putting some pressure on. And I'm watching the thing and I'm thinking, how does this kid not play more than Charlie Coyle and Elias Lindholm, who ended up banging one off at Adam Fox for his 10th goal? Can you imagine? You texted that to me. 10 goals for Elias Lindholm?
Yeah.
I mean, that has to be the quietest 10 goals in the history of hockey.
I said in the text chain, is there a single goal of his that you can remember?
No. None. No, you know what? The only thing I remember him doing was that play on Rasmus Anderson against the Flames where he won the puck out in front.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only play I can remember him making that was worth a damn this year. Like the only one. I don't remember his goals. I just remember that one.
Patrick played 14-22 tonight.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. 14-22. That's what he played. 14-22. Yeah. Great. Yeah. He's not playing 18-19. I'll tell you what does he have to do? What does he have to do to play more?
And he was 4-2 on the dot, and the team got dominated in the faceoff circle. He was 4-2, by the way. Yeah.
Charlie Coyle, 17-43. Elias Lindholm, 20-15. Matt Pastrnak, 14-22. Pavel Zacha, 20-05.
Elias Lindholm missed the faceoff, was 2-5 on the dot tonight.
2-5. Yeah.
I mean, he did score, so,
Brazeau played under 10 minutes again. Why is he in the lineup? He doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. I mean, tonight Brazeau had 0 shots. He had 1 block shot. He had a giveaway. He had 15 shifts. He had 139 of power play time.
Yeah, he plays on the second, right?
He had 9:55 total ice time. He did 0. Charlie Coyle, -2. Again, 3 shots missed, 2 giveaways, 22 shifts, though. Loses 7 out of 12 faceoffs for 41%. Elias Lindholm, great faceoff guy, loses 5 out of 7, 28.6%.
Yep.
Had 3 hits somehow, scored a goal off Adam Fox's inner thigh. Yeah, and that's about it for him. I mean, Patra just looked like a guy who was making stuff happen, and there was a shift with him and Pastrnak out there that they were out there. It seemed like forever. And Charlie Coyle is -9 now in the year.
Yeah, I mean, look, wins battles along the boards. Number one, because he's elusive in tight spaces. He can get away from guys on their checks if they're playing one-on-one. Spin off guys, he's good at that, and he gets a little daylight, and then he can make a play. Like most guys, when they spin off guys, they puck ends up in their skates and they can't do anything with it. Yeah. He can do it and then make a play, and that's the NHL. That's what you need to be able to do at this level in order to make plays and produce and score goals. Like you don't have a lot of time. You have more time than you think, but not as much as you want. Like that's kind of how the saying goes. And he's good at that. He's good at creating some space for himself and then making a play. He's one of the few guys on the team that can pass accurately. So there's that too. How about speaking of passing accurately? How about Johnny Beecher on a 3-on-2 rush, passes the puck behind the offensive blue line to put himself and the other 2 players offside?
Yeah.
How about that?
That was even worse than last night's 3-on-2 when he put it behind the guys, but still in the zone. Yeah. Now he's got worse. Now it's out of the zone. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was watching this and thinking to myself, how is this guy still play on an NHL roster?
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get scratched ever. He just continue to play him. And it doesn't speak to their method of burying young guys. For whatever reason, John Beecher is immune to that. He's so valuable. He's got to be out there. He's got to be out there. And I don't.
There's another guy.
Know if they just believe that someday it's going to click when it's never clicked.
No,
I mean,
never in his whole entire life.
Yeah, I mean, this is who he is. He can't do any. He goes in a breakaway tonight, almost partial breakaway, and doesn't get a shot off. I mean, come on. I mean, the guy. You talk about dying on your stick. That every play dies on his stick. There's nothing is going to happen. Every time Pastrnak's not on the ice, they have literally no chance to score.
Yeah.
There's nothing is going on when Pastrnak's not out there. Pastrnak does everything for this team.
Yeah.
He does everything.
I think if this team somehow manages to get into the playoffs, he should get hard votes.
He should get hard votes. He should.
If they really somehow manage to get in, he should. Because coming off last year,
points, he should.
Coming off of last year, he did. He had 110, and the next guy had 69 points. That's a huge gap.
It is. It is. He should get hard.
He really should. Yeah. I mean, with how bad this team is and their minus goal differential.
Yeah. He's gonna have 100 points in a team that has like minus 35 goal differential this year.
Yeah. I mean,
he is.
If you want to talk about the reasons, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they're still in this with their goal differential the way it is. He's the reason.
He's the reason.
If he wasn't on the team, they would be in last place.
It would be, bad.
Dreadful.
Yep. Bad if it wasn't for him. And let's go back to Sweeney's comment about Hampus Lindholm, because when he said that, I cackled out loud. I cackled out loud by myself. When he said that, the first thing out of his mouth was, well, you missed Hampus Lindholm for about 40 games. You can't score, Donnie. Don Sweeney on TNT. Well, it's been a little unique for us this year, getting out of the gate not as fast as we would like, you think? We're in the middle of things. It's a tough exercise to sort of play both sides of the street, but that's almost every year what a general manager is required to do, and test what's out there, what's available, how you can improve, hopefully. We have some areas we would like to, but we have to keep an eye. We've missed Hampus Lindholm all year, at least the last 40 games, and it's affected our group. But everybody goes through injuries. You got to battle through it. Got to find a way while I'm out there trying to improve our club. If we have more injuries or we don't do the job between now and the deadline, we may have to take a different path. So Hampus Lindholm is the answer to the fact that you didn't have a shot attempt tonight. Shot attempt tonight for the first 10 minutes of the game. The first half of the first period, not even an attempt at the net. Never mind on goal. You didn't have a first shot on goal for 12 minutes.
No.
And then last night, the first 9 minutes without a shot on goal. Yeah. But Hampus Lindholm is your answer to this issue? Seriously? You miss Hampus Lindholm. Of course you do. He's a good player.
Sure.
And you've had some defensive issues, and he's a minutes eater and all that. Of course. But you can't friggin' score, Donnie. Your offense is awful. If it wasn't for David Pastrnak, you would be in the cellar in this league, amongst the worst teams in hockey, maybe the worst team in hockey, if it wasn't for David Pastrnak.
Yeah. Argument for me.
What in the world is that comment about Hampus Lindholm?
I don't understand the Lindholm comment. I don't understand the general managers have to play both sides of the street all the time. When has he ever done that? When has he ever sold a guy off and gotten assets back in return during a playoff hunt? Never. So never don't pretend like you're playing both sides of the street. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard him say.
He's never had it.
Shit.
Yes. So he's never done it.
I mean, this is what it comes back. This is what it comes back to. We've said it a million times. The guy doesn't have a plan. He's checking to see what's out there. If they get close,
both
do this or that. Like, what are we doing? Have a plan and execute the fucking plan.
Yeah.
Make some decisions about your roster. Where are you weak? Where are we strong? What can we do to improve the club? I mean, he talks about improving the club, but has he? No, it was an unfinished roster coming into the season. He said it himself. What did you do with the $22 million? You're overspending on a guy $8 million who has fucking 10 goals.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
And you got a third pair, big stiff defenseman for $5 million a year for 6 years.
Miller has an eight and change contract. He had 109 points last year. Your guy had 44. Like, what the fuck are we doing? No. What are we doing?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know. And if it just speaks to me that he believes that he's going to try everything in his power just to make the playoffs, because that's the only way he can't lose his job. And he can lose his job if he misses the playoffs. So he doesn't want to admit that right now. He just
I know he doesn't.
Then it's going to be bad.
He's a sackless goof.
He is. I mean, he's just a company man.
He is
Harvard
a company
law, man. Whatever the fuck. Tell you, whatever speak you're gonna listen to.
Speaking of
everything out of his mind, he didn't say anything since November 19th.
No,
he hasn't said anything to the media since then. And as Ty Anderson said on Twitter tonight, he's probably not going to say anything else until the deadline now. Like, he's spoken once since before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Like,
speaking of ballless, the ownership of this fucking team, they need to develop some themselves. Like the playoff, just like making the playoffs isn't good enough for me. Like shouldn't be a reason for Sweens to keep his job. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be. Like you need to improve the club. That's compete for Stanley Cups. That should be your job. So if he's just biding his time, hoping they'll make the playoffs and not doing anything to improve the club for the future, the ownership has to say that's not good enough. Treading water is not good enough, and they need to fire the guy. And they should have done it already. And if Sweeney's just gonna kind of, hang around in the middle where it's purgatory for a team, and you can't make any kind of moves to improve, or you don't want to do anything to sell. Like, ownership's got to step to the plate here. They really do.
I'll be honest with you.
I mean, I know they won't, but they need to.
I'm scared to death in 2 years. If this salary cap is 113, I'm scared to death they're not going to be spending to the cap anymore. I am scared to death. No one's talking about it. No one's asking the question. But I'm telling you right now, at some point, there's going to be a tipping point where they don't spend to the cap anymore. I'm telling you.
I'm with you.
It's not automatic.
No.
They've been automatic now because it's in a sweet spot. But if it gets to $113 million, I guarantee you they're not spending to that.
They may. But at some point, I'm with you, though. At some point.
But Nesson's going to be $75 a month.
Yeah. I mean, they don't own Nesson, I don't think.
Oh, yeah, right. John Henry does.
But it's going to get to a point at some time in the future, whether it's 2 years from now or 5 years from now, but it'll get to a point if the cap goes up to 150, they're going to reach at some point.
Yeah.
I agree with you. At some point, they're going to hit a limit and they're not going to go over it.
They're not going to go over the limit.
And they won't spend to the top of the cap, even though they're one of the most valuable franchises in the entire NHL. They'll get to a point where they won't go above it.
They won't.
There's only so many giant meatballs you can sell, and only so much money that you can steal from your consumers.
That's what I fear, is that they don't have great teams and they miss the playoffs a couple times, and they aren't getting the revenue and they don't spend.
Yeah,
and it's possible. I mean, it's possible. So that's a fear too.
Sure.
Look at this game tonight should be like. I don't even know how many times Don Sweeney's been in the building when they played recently. I don't. But He was there tonight. And if you watch the game tonight with the anemic offense, like the rest of your team could do basically nothing other than Pastrnak and Patra. So I don't know what you think this team is going to accomplish. It's still the same. It has been the same all year. And it's not Hampus Lindholm coming back, and all of a sudden you're getting 35 shots on net a game. Like that's not the thing. And they were actually they had a winning record without McAvoy and Lindholm in the lineup. It's their offense that sucks.
Yeah,
their offense sucks.
They had 17 shots, right?
17 shots. You need to win this game. We had 17 shots. You come out and don't have a shot on net for 12 minutes. This is a Ranger team that's, not great. They're fragile. Then you're up 2-1 and you give up, Chris Kreider shorthanded to win the game essentially.
Yeah.
It blows by everybody.
Mm-hmm.
No. And Joe Sacco saying that Charlie McAvoy is on the PP1 because of his zone entries. I mean, nothing makes me laugh harder. I mean, I'm watching tonight, and McAvoy doesn't enter the zone cleanly any fucking time.
Look, he can do it if he doesn't do the flip back to the other team, but like most of the time he does. He's not the one that does it.
He's not the one carrying it.
So that's the part that I don't get. Like 85% of the time, he's not the one entering the zone. It's someone else.
True. Like, it's not true. Stop saying that shit. It's not true. He's doing it because you're spending $9.5 million on him.
Correct.
And that's his role, and he needs to do it because you can't have a $9.5 million defenseman and not have him on the power play.
Yeah, I mean,
because you're an idiot if you do.
It's the same with Elias Lindholm. It's the same reason he's out there.
Spending a ton of money on these guys, so they have to play them. Because Charlie Jacobs is going to be like, when he finally pays attention to the box score, if he ever looks at it, it says, why is Elias Lindholm playing 12 minutes and we're spending $8 million a year on him? Then that's the answer. That's the answer. That's why they keep rolling out there. That's why Mason Lohrei is far better on the power play, and he's not even great either, but he's far better than McAvoy, and Lindholm will be even better when he gets in there, too. And Patra should be in there on the power play, but you're not going to take Lindholm out of there because he's making $8 million a year. Like, you're not playing the best players in the best spots because of salary. It's that I mean, it has to be it. I mean, don't give me any other crap. I mean, it has to be it. They pay the guys money. They're not going to take McAvoy off the power play one, and it's going to continue to suck. It's 30th in the league. It's 14%. They were like 2 for 46 or 47 in their last 21 games at MSG in the power play.
Yeah,
like, it's just like I don't know. And it's shocking to me that a team all year long that has been so bad at injuries has not been able to figure it out yet. Like, is still as bad, if not worse. Like, how are you not able to figure it out?
I think it goes back to a couple things. I think it goes to the team not being able to pass well in general. And I think it goes to not necessarily puck management, but I'll say hockey IQ.
Yeah.
They make dumb plays. Like they just make dumb plays. Like tonight, they have the puck in the zone. They're moving the power play around. They finally got it in there. They're generating some chances. Pastrnak bobbles the puck, then gets it. Oh, that was towards the end of the game. That was that was when they had the extra man on. But he gets it on his backhand and just throws a blind pass to the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you doing? Like, that's not gonna connect. And then earlier, he tries to force a seam pass through Marchand along the ice. Like, it's not there. Don't do that.
Yeah, and he did it with 25 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That first one was when 25 seconds left, but then but earlier in the game on the power play, he tried to force a seam pass to Marchand. Like, they do that shit all the time.
All the time.
Him and Marchand both try to force seam passes to each other all the time when there's other openings that they don't choose to use. Really,
they don't go below the goal line.
No, they don't put the puck down low enough, especially after watching them handle the puck down low. Pastrnak swings the net and hits Geeky wide open on the cross crease on 5-on-5 play. You don't feel like that would work on the power play?
Sure it would.
Like they just don't move the puck quickly enough and with enough crispness and focus so that it's tape to tape. And there's not enough movement. You get a lot of guys standing around. Like Pasta stands in his spot, McAvoy stands in his spot, Marchand stands in his spot, and like occasionally they'll switch it up, but most of the time they don't. Everybody just stands in their spot and they try to pass it around and force things. You have to move in order to open up the penalty kill, and they refuse to do it. And until they decide to do it, that's what's going to keep happening. And maybe it's fucking Chris Kelly's, wisdom. Maybe he's the one saying, stay in your spots. That way you know where everyone's going to be. Well, that's not how a power play works. But he wouldn't know that because he's never been on the fucking power play in his goddamn life.
Yeah, right.
Chris.
And producer Connor says that the Bruins are 6th in the league in ticket revenue sales. So right now, they're up there. If the people stop going, or if they start having non-sellouts because they aren't very good, then what happens then?
Yeah, that'll start happening.
It will.
Because they charge $1 million to go to the games.
They do.
So if it's a bad product, people are going to stop going. I mean, I know Bruins fans are loyal, and we love you guys for it. Everyone here in the comments as well. Yeah. But they're gonna stop going to games because it costs too much to go to games. If you're gonna go and get killed every night,
Yeah.
But they're winning home games right now, so there's that.
Sure. The power play is only a plus 17 all year long. Imagine.
What?
They've given up the most shorthanded goals, 8.
Yeah.
They're only plus 17. So they've scored 25 and given up 8.
Yeah, I mean the power play is not good.
And it sucks. And not only that, it's a detriment. You've given up 8 goals.
Yeah.
Most in the league.
I think the Rangers have scored 9 shorthanded. That might be the most in the league too.
Yeah, they're up there too. Yeah,
they have some. I mean, look, Kreider did blow by everyone, but he's fast, and they don't have a lot of speed on their team. So I mean, that's an issue, and we've talked about that before too. You got a bunch of big, slowish guys now.
Yeah, you were supposed to, win puck battles and win along the wall and rough guys up and be heavy, and you can't chase the puck. You can't catch them. You can't go get it. So what a fail.
Hard to be happy if you can't get fail.
What an epic fucking fail.
Yeah.
Seriously. This is what you did in the offseason is get all these big guys. Half of them don't even play because they weren't even good enough. Your Tufties and your Joneses and all these guys, half of those guys aren't even good enough. And now you can't skate well at all. You have no playmaking center. It's just you have no tough defensemen. Who are you? You don't have any idea. You were supposed to be heavy and tough to play against and all this other stuff. Your defense isn't that way. And that's where a lot of your toughness comes from, folks, is your defense. So they don't have any tough defenders. So Zadorov, but he takes penalties and he's slow as shit too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Like you say, I don't know what the plan is. I don't know what it is going forward. Connor seems to think that this year they set it up this way so that next year they can spend all this money and they have a plan, like a 2-year plan or whatever. And that's why Sweeney's not really doing much. And it's all pointed to next year. Well, I'd love to see what that plan is because people have to want to come here, number one. And are you going to sign the right guys? And are you going to let Marchand and Frederick and Geeky all walk at the end of the year for no assets?
Probably.
I'd love to see what that plan is. I really would. All right, comments. Matthew Curtis, 0 shots, 10 minutes in. What a playoff game. And they're treated like playoff games. Well, I can't wait for the playoffs then. Because they're not going to get any shots on net.
Yeah, this mini playoff series is what they said they were treating it as, a mini playoff series.
Mini playoff series.
Yeah, so they're going to lose all the road games and win all the home games. That's excellent because when they barely sneak into the playoffs, they won't. They'll miss. But when they barely sneak into the playoffs, they're going to be the road team. They're going to be the team that gets less home games. So that's great. You're going to lose, game 7 on the road and be eliminated in the first round. Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's great. Matthew Curtis says they had 6 shots on goal in 37 minutes of play at one point. Columbus Blue Jackets, 24-25 Bees is the team of destiny, playing the worst hockey and still keeping us in our seats. They're playing just enough to hang in, which is the kiss of death. Right now they're in 6th place, exactly where you said they'd be. You said 5th or 6th place by the 4 nations.
Mm-hmm.
They're in 6th place with Vegas coming up at home.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I could probably general manage the team better than the clown that's doing it now, is all I'm saying.
Nailed it.
And I wouldn't be focused on the 4 nations right now, I'll tell you that.
You know what? The 2-week break, I'm going to go back to all the shit we've said and see how much has come true, because I think it's an awful fucking lot.
I mean,
I really do.
It is. But you know what else is an awful lot? I bet you the things we've gotten wrong are probably more than things.
Oh my God, I know, and they're probably more egregious.
Yeah. You should probably stay away from that stuff.
Where the Benders.
I mean, we'll keep track of the successes and the failures. We'll sweep under the rug a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Liam Perkins says Coyle is a lazy fuck, so you got that going for you. Charlie Coyle just hasn't been good all year long.
No,
I mean, he's got 13 goals somehow, and 7 assists as a center. 7 assists, -9. Many nights has been one of the worst players on the ice. He's 32 years old. This is kind of what you thought he'd be like as he gets older. I mean, he'd be the guy that I'd really dangle. He has an 8-team no trade list. That means I'm not a great mathematician, but what is that? 23 teams that you could trade him to. So, see what other 23 teams might want the guy. See what you can get for him, and then give Patra his minutes. Yeah,
I mean, look, outside of last year when he had 60 points,
he's a 45-point guy.
Yeah, I mean, here's his points since 17-18. He had 43, 28, 37, 16 in the shortened season, 44, 45, 60, and this year he has 20. So
20.
He's not an offensive player. He's a third line center. Mm-hmm. And that's where you want him. But because the Bruins didn't address, the top 2 centers when Bergeron and Krejci left, you have to play this guy out of position. And that's not his thing. He's out there to chip in occasionally and not get scored on. That's
right.
His role as a third line center. And he can do that pretty well because he can possess the puck and hold on to it. And when he's the third line center, it doesn't matter if he doesn't shoot. As long as he just keeps it in the other team's end and fucks around and possesses the puck and, swings the net and carries it around and, gets it deep, all that shit. Great. Well done. You didn't get scored on. And that's good. And then you chip in a little bit. Great.
Right.
But that's not what he is. That's not what he is as a player. He's playing out of position right now.
He is. He's playing out of position. He 100%.
You have a team full of guys playing out of position. Mm-hmm. As much as I love what Morgan Geekie was doing with David Pastrnak, he's cooled off now, and he's playing out of position. Mm-hmm. Not where he belongs. You need 3.5 or 4 top 6 forwards.
Mm-hmm. You do. You really do.
If you're a legitimately good team, you need 3 of. Yeah, we'll call it 3. I'll be generous and say 3.
Yeah.
You have Pastrnak right now. You have Marchand. I guess we'll call Pavel Zacha a top 6 forward. Mm-hmm. Or you can combine him with Elias Lindholm and make a top 6 forward. But yeah, you still need 3 more guys.
You need 3 more guys. Yeah.
And Patra, I think, could be one of them if they played him the minutes, but they don't. They've just decided they don't want to.
I don't understand why. My move would be to trade Coyle for whatever you can get and get Patra's minutes.
Yes.
Put Patra in first or second line center and let him play the last 25 games of the year.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I mean, you get rid of Coyle's. You take a second round pick, third round pick. I don't give a shit what it is. Save that 5.85 next year, and give Pastrnak minutes.
Yeah, I would say to do that and take Coyle's money and whatever money you have in the cap and sign Mitch Marner. There's a guy who can pass the puck.
Yeah, there's a winger.
Yeah.
And you could put Pastrnak, Marner, and Pastrnak or whatever, or put Marner on the second line, Pastrnak on the second. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You have there's a good start right there to get back to being an offensive threat.
That's what I'm saying. They need more elite talent. They don't need pluggers and John Beechers. They don't need that.
And you know what? They're going to take the bait on Morgan Geekie. They're going to take the bait. And as Macaulay Martin says right here, nights like this, it's so evident that Geekie and Zacha aren't first-line players.
Correct.
Good Lord. Correct. That they're not. Geekie's having a nice year. And he might score 25 goals. But I'm not giving the guy 3 or 4 years. I'm just not. I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna say right now, Morgan Geekie 3 times 3.5. That's what they're gonna give him.
I don't hate it.
You don't hate 3 times 3.5?
I don't hate it.
But does that mean that they say, okay, 3 times 3.5, he's a top 6 player now? Like, are they gonna say, because if he's a top 6 player, you're not very good.
It shouldn't say that.
Right.
It shouldn't. 3.5 isn't really a top 6.
It's not. But
Oil's getting more than that. Zacha's getting more than that.
Don't consider.
I'm worried they're going to go 4. I'm worried they're going to go 4+, and then I'm going to lose my shit.
Okay.
But if they go like 3 times 3, 3 times 3.5, like I could live with that, especially with the cap going up. Like that's not bad.
And then it'll be a third liner.
Yeah, for a second, third line guy.
Mm-hmm. Middle 6.
If your third line is Coyle, Geekie, and someone else, like I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I mean, I'm with you though. I would like Coyle gone. I would.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like that's not them, and we know this.
It's not them.
We know this, and it's disappointing and depressing. Really,
it is, because that could be a little sneaky, little savvy move you make, even in a playoff push. You trade him right now, give Patra his minutes because you have the guy. You have the guy in Patra. So send Coyle. See what we can get if at all, save that money going into next year. Now have some good money, and he's look, he's on the back end. He's 32 years old. So that's what I would do, but they're not going to do it, as you said. Blows my mind. Someone could watch 55 games of this team and still think they might have a chance in the playoffs, says Matthew Curtis. It's true. I mean, your general manager thinks so. I mean, your team president thinks so. They still think you're there. And there's just first of all, the math doesn't play well. I mean, you're going to end up after the Vegas game. There's 25 games left in the season when you come back from 4 nations. There's teams that just about every team, around you has games at hand with you. So, and you're in 6th place.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that realistic? Like, it can't be realistic to think that you're going to make it. Like, can you think this team needs to run off 5 or 6 in a row to solidify something? They've only won 4 games in a row one time.
Yeah.
So, and after that, lost 8-1 and 5-1.
They do what they did tonight. Like, people are like, why are you guys so negative after the 2 wins?
Yeah. Didn't we say this? Like, this is why we're still negative.
Here we are.
This is why we're realistic. We're not. You look at, we're probably cynical by nature because we've been watching this team for 45 years. I mean, It's easy to be cynical, okay? But I'm telling you that it doesn't take a brain surgeon to see that all the things line up. They have the worst special teams in the league. They have terrible goal differential. They don't have any offensive talent other than David Pastrnak and occasionally Brad Marchand. How the fuck do you think they're going to win 5 or 6 in a row?
Yeah.
We knew second night of a back-to-back against the Rangers, who they just beat and who's trying to dig themselves back into the playoffs as well.
Yeah. Just traded for JT Miller.
Yeah, they made a move. They traded for JT Miller, a legitimate scorer in the league, who scored 2 goals against you the first game he played with them.
Yeah.
So, that's a team trying. I'm not sure your Boston Bruins are really trying, like really giving it a go. I just don't think so. If they were, they'd make a proactive move right now.
No,
or would have 2 weeks ago.
Sweeney right now is in his wait and see approach. We're going to wait and see what happens up until the trade deadline when the prices are outrageous or guys from other teams have already been dealt, so you can't get what you want for your guys. And then you're going
to say again that, well, we tried up and down and we just couldn't find anything that really fit. Like we just couldn't find, the numbers didn't match up. And well, because you waited fucking forever.
Yeah, you waited too long.
The pre-trade deadline just happened.
Yeah.
When really good players are going or moving around already. And there's no sniff of you talking about anything other than maybe Brad Marchand, rumors. That's it. Like, I don't know. I mean, this is going to be an interesting Four Nations tournament, not because the tournament's any good, but because there's going to be talk about Marchand and yucking it up with McKinnon, and that thing's going to start heating up. And then you come back in February with 10 road games. And you play like Florida, Tampa Bay, and Florida and Ottawa, like in a row there. And you got Vegas on the road. And, right before the deadline, there's only 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, look, it doesn't even matter who they play on the road at this point in time. Any team on the road is a tough game because they suck on the road.
They do.
No matter who it is, they suck.
Yeah. Special teams murdered this game again. Fire Chris Kelly. Again, I can't imagine that you can watch that power play and the lack of zone entries and the possession and any of that, and just try to understand, like, you must be working on this all year long. How you've not figured it out yet, at least to a point where it's respectable. Like, it's still the same mess. And I don't understand. I don't understand how that can happen. I mean, you don't have any really good centers, so that's part of it. You relied on Bergeron on the bumper and Pastrnak on the left wing for years, and you haven't figured out the next method because you don't have a bumper guy. So
no,
I mean, I don't know what you do now. I think you stop playing below the goal line, though. I think you put Patra down below the goal line with some vision and some IQ. Try it.
I would be willing to try anything at this point.
Yeah, put him in Gretzky's office and see what happens. Pejman says this team does absolutely nothing well. Special teams are embarrassing. Defense is flat out not good. Outside of the one line, they can't fucking score. Enough playoff talk. Sell and do it now. How about this? How about Brandon Carlo's terrific turnover for the first goal of the game? Like, goes back to the puck, and instead of just sticking it in his skates and being big and just kind of possessing it, he just backhand flips it right to Mika Zibanejad, who gives it off to Panarin goal. Like, like
it's not what you're looking for.
Brandon Carlo, I'm telling you, he had a good game last night.
He did.
He had a good game. We talked about it. Maybe this is the start. Well,
no,
maybe not. Maybe not. I mean, and Carlo's a guy you start thinking about. Carlo, Coyle, Frederick. Well, those are the guys that I think about like, look, might be time to take a serious look at those 3 guys and see if you really want to continue on with them.
I mean, I don't know how Don Sweeney can look at this team and see, 20 of 21 guys essentially underperforming and be like, we're going to snap out of it. We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We just need Hampus Lindholm back. Like, what team is he watching?
I don't know.
Does he realize that every single player on the team other than Pastrnak is underperforming?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand. I don't understand how he could possibly watch this team and be like, we'll bounce back. Like, we'll find our game. How? Yeah. Even if 2 guys snap out of it for a little bit, like Geeky snapped out of it there for a hot second, but no one else. So then you had Pastrnak and Geeky. So now you got 2 of 19 guys playing well. Like, you're not all of a sudden going to get 20 guys playing well. It's not going to happen. Not for an extended period of time.
No.
You'll have a game here or there where everybody's feeling good and you play a decent game, but you haven't been able to string it together all year.
No.
You go 2 games and then you have a huge disappointment tonight. Or you win 4 in a row and then you get outscored 13-2 in the next 2 games.
Well, that's the point. You have to string some together.
Yes.
You have to, or you're not going to make it. Like, so you can't do the win one, lose one, lose one. You can't do that thing anymore. So look, there's only 7 games. See, this is what I'm saying. They're going to be in it. Let's say they beat Vegas Saturday. So they're in it. There's only 7 games until the deadline. So Don Sweeney can say, well, we're still in it. So make a minor move, get a guy, and roll with it. But it's really kind of false hope. Like, there's not enough time in between to really fall out of it enough for Sweeney to say, you're not in it, unless they lost 6 in a row. Like, that's the only thing that can happen. And you've got Anaheim and some teams like that aren't very good. Like, so you're going to kind of hang in for just 7 games after the 4 Nations. So you're still going to be in it. So that's what my fear is that they're just going to make a move and keep all these guys, and then guys are going to walk at the end of the year. It's foolish.
It is foolish.
You're not going to win the cup, dude.
No.
Like,
the problem is, in their last 10 games, they're 5-4-1, which is fine, but it's not good enough.
No.
You need to be better than that. Everybody else around you has been playing that way or better. Like Detroit, 7-3. They've won 7 in a row. Tampa Bay, 5-4-1. Columbus, 5-4-1. New York Islanders, 8-2. New York Rangers, 6-3-1. Like, those are all the teams right around you. And they're all playing as well or better than you.
Right.
And you've played more games than them, and they have games in hand. So if those 10-game runs continue, you're out.
You're out.
You got to go like 7-3, 8-2 in your next 10. Like, you can't go 500 and expect to get in. That's not going to happen. Right. And then you have a bunch of road games right up, at when you come out of the 4 Nations and then, into March or whatever. So you're in trouble. Like, they're in trouble.
We're in big trouble.
And I don't understand why they can't see it down the road. It's like they have no foresight at all. No. They can't see that the cliff is coming and they're going to fall off. They're like, oh yeah, there's plenty of road there. We'll be fine. Keep going.
Right.
We'll keep going with the same car. And then they'll get to, the break, and they'll play their road games against, the Atlantic Elite, and they'll fucking lose them all. And then they'll be there with that car fucking crashed at the bottom of the ditch, looking around like, why is Trent Frederick still here? I thought he was somewhere else. Nope. Hung on to him.
Yeah. Adrian just said, none of us in the chat are asking why you're pessimistic. Okay. Just checking. What's crazy about this team is I can tell you within the first 5 minutes of play when we are going to lose, says Nat Pat. The passing is so sloppy, and they didn't even attempt to take shots. It is. I mean, it's so bad. It's so bad sometimes. I mean, really bad, the passing. And there's just no chance for any tape-to-tape 3 in a row that we talk about. 3 in a row, tape-to-tape, usually leads to a shot on net.
Yeah.
And if you watch the game, I challenge you to watch the game Saturday and count the times that they have 1, 2, 3 tape-to-tape. It may be 0.
I want to know, and I have no idea if this is a stat or not. It's a stat in NHL, in the NHL video games, but I have no idea. It's probably kept somewhere in the NHL, stat, land or whatever. But what their passing percentage is, like what percentage of their passes are complete?
Yeah, there must be a stat.
They've
got to be down there at the end.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about that. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see what percentage of their passes compared to other teams, where do they rank? Where do they fall within the league in that in passing completion percentage?
And New Hampshire Bruins 77 says he really wishes the two of us could interview Sweeney. Podcast gold. It would be absolutely amazing. I'll tell you what, I'd ask him flat out things. I would ask him, like, because look at the Bruins don't know us, and if they did know us, they wouldn't like us. So
No.
it doesn't. What we're trying to do is just ask the questions that should be asked in the media, and we would. But Sweeney would never come on here in a million years.
Yeah.
But if he did, or if I ever got a credential, I'd ask the question, like Donnie, like, here are the stats, and I roll off the special teams and the offense and all this stuff, and I'd say, what makes you think after 57 games or whatever it is, what makes you think that it could change to actually elevate you to a playoff position?
Yeah, that playoffs are the correct path for this team.
That the playoffs are what is telling you that the playoffs are the correct path? And if he gives me Hampus Lindholm's been out 40 games, then I will laugh out loud in the press room, because that's not the case. That has not much to do with it. Yes, they miss him, of course, but it's not the reason why they're where they are.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you what,
they've been remarkably, other than McAvoy being out a few games, which they actually had a decent record in, and Hampus Lindholm, they've been remarkably healthy.
Yeah.
They have been. They haven't had a ton of man games lost.
No, they haven't. And I was going to say, I'll tell you what, Don Sweeney has an open invitation.
He does.
Podcast. He can come on whenever he likes. And
we wouldn't rip him and stuff, but we would ask him hard questions.
Well, I couldn't call him, a fuckwad or a doof or anything like that.
We wouldn't accentuate sweens.
No, I
wouldn't do that stuff.
I would be respectful to him.
Sure, of course.
But at the same time, I
would follow up when he gave us a gibberish. We'd follow up.
People kind of just ask a question and then accept it because that was his answer. And a lot of times it's a non-answer. And I wouldn't accept that. There would be follow-up questions.
I think the difference now that in the past in sports media is that the teams really control the information.
Well,
and they control who gets the information. And if you ask, they will cut you out.
Yes. So I was going to say, we probably we're never going to get credentialed because we criticize the team too much. Because of our credentials, if it came to where we were trying to get a credential, and the Bruins were like, "Who are these guys?" and they looked it up, no chance.
No chance.
We will never be credentialed.
No,
for a Bruins game unless we can get one through a road team somehow.
Right.
We would never be credentialed. So we wouldn't be allowed to ask the questions. But if we were somehow to get a credential, it would be one time only. It would be a one-time only thing. We would ask the questions, and then they would usher us out with security. We would be allowed back. We might be banned from the building.
They would,
just in general.
Right.
So yeah.
And here's the other thing. If they were to say, guys, tone it down and we'll give you one, we won't.
No.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it because I feel this works. I feel that this is something that is not out and about in other podcasts. I feel like there's other podcasts too. Never mind media. There's other podcasts who kiss their ass.
Oh yeah.
And I just won't do that because I just think that this is more fun. And I think that this is something that people like this. They'd like to hear what their own voice being heard in other ways. They'd like their own opinions.
If you've got to make a post on Twitter and jerk off every other Bruins podcast that's related to the team to make sure you can get credentials, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing that. I mean, it doesn't mean enough to me to do that.
That's not who we are. That's not who we've ever been, and that's not who we're. Authentic. You get what we feel. We're not gonna sugarcoat it for the teams, for the team, or for anyone else. You get what you get from us. This is how we actually feel. We're not making anything up.
No.
We're not driving negativity for clicks or any of that stuff. This is how we genuinely feel about the team at the time. Sometimes it's good. Most of the time, because the team's been bad, it's bad.
It's bad. 2 years ago, listen to 2 years ago's pod. It was great.
Yeah. I mean, we had it even then. We had whipping boys and
we had whipping boys and guys that pissed us off. Yeah. But this has been a rough year, and that's it. Quote of the night says Bruins 1970 sackless goof. Yeah, that's a sackless goof. Maybe we should have that as the episode title this week.
We should. It says my eyes and shoulders would be twitching, trying not to swear. And you probably are correct with that, Danny.
It really would be.
You probably are correct with that.
Oh my God. It's just, but hey, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, he might say something to me, and I would be biting my tongue or the inside of my cheek, trying everything within my power to not say, "You fucking kidding me right now?"
Are you fucking kidding me?
If we're there together, there'd be like eye rolls and like nudges, and I mean, yeah, we'd be thrown out of that.
I'd be elbowing Matty, saying, "Hey, get a load of this fucking guy." Can you believe this shit?
Drilling me in the head.
Oh my God!
Believe that? You shitting me? Yeah, that's what we'd probably be saying. Hey, we're going to Montreal April 3rd. We should probably call Montreal and be like, "Hey,
yeah, can we get a credential?"
Oh, yeah.
Can you guys just pick the one team that I've told you over and over again that we can make things work with?
Columbus Blue Jackets.
Go to Columbus, for Christ's sake.
Columbus.
All right, I'm in.
All right, we'll go to Columbus, and I'll dive bomb the Bruins locker room.
Yes,
yeah. We'll just show up, and they'll be like, "Oh,
yeah,
Jesus!"
I mean, yeah, set it up, Connor. Credential us next year, Columbus. We'll go.
We'll go to Columbus.
Yeah,
100%.
We can make that happen. We've got a
we'll go to Columbus.
there.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll go to an Ohio State game, and we'll go.
Yeah. Oh fuck yeah, we will.
Jackets. Yeah, we will. Absolutely. Yeah, and yeah. I actually went to St. Louis, not to a Blues game, but I went to St. Louis to a Cardinals game. St. Louis is a great sports town. It really is.
It is.
Hasmick said, "Try St. Louis." I do like me some St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't.
What's that?
I don't.
You don't like St. Louis?
Because of 2019. Fuck those guys.
Oh, yeah. At the Blues, I don't like.
Fuck them all the hell.
Hey, if you guys come to St. Louis, I'll come down for the weekend while you're there.
Oh, yeah? The St. Louis
3 hours from me.
We go see Monty.
Where's Chicago in relation to you?
3 hours northeast, and St. Louis
of
3
Missouri.
hours south.
Yeah.
So we're going to Chicago because Chicago's a real town and St. Louis is a piece of trash.
Yeah, as long as we're not victims of a homicide, I think we'll be fine in Chicago.
Yeah, that's where St. Louis does feel a little bit more safer.
East St. Louis is not great.
I love Chicago. Chicago is my kind of town.
Chicago is my kind of town. Yeah, been there at Wrigley. Anyway, so tonight the Bruins drop at 3-2. There'll be a new episode coming out shortly, so you want to check that out. And then next week, Wednesday, right after Sweden plays Canada in the Four Nations, we will be live at 9:30 Eastern time to do our episode. So you can check us out, jump on with us. We'll put it all over social media as well. And Sweden plays Canada at 7 that night. So as soon as they get done on TNT, we'll be just about starting up. So we'll do that live to give you to sort of ease you of the withdrawals of no Bruins for 2 weeks. But before that, Saturday afternoon or early evening, as the Bruins take on the Vegas Golden Knights, the last game before the break. Thanks a lot, everybody, for jumping in tonight again. And as always, go Bruins.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.